Good evening and welcome to the Village Board meeting for the Village of Pleasantville. Today is Wednesday, May 30. We're on an unusual schedule today because our fiscal year ends on May 31st, and we had a number of housekeeping items to resolve prior to that, and with the Monday holiday, today turned out to be the best day. So after today, we return to our regular schedule, and we'll be back here at our next regular meeting, which is on Monday, June 11, with a work session at 7 and a regular session at 8 p.m. Couple of announcements to make. First off, thanks to all the participants in the Memorial Day ceremonies that took place on Monday. The folks from the Rec Department, DPW, the Police Department, PCTV, Fire Department, Voluntary Ambulance Corps, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Scouts of all stripes, as well as a lot of our supporting organizations all participated in what I think was both a nice parade and a meaningful ceremony. So thanks to all for that. It's a big week for activities. This coming Friday, June 1 at 7 p.m. is the annual Fire Department Parade, one of the best days in the Village of Pleasantville. So pass the word to you and yours. Friday, June 1 starts at 7 p.m. its usual route, starting near the library at 7 p.m., making its way down Bedford Road, turning on the plaza, back up Manville Road, down Grove Street, left on Edgewood, and finishing on Washington Avenue. So a great night, and nice to have a big crowd to show support for not only our volunteer firefighters, but those from many other communities that come to make it a great parade. Music Festival coming up on July 14. Get thee to PleasantvilleMusicFestival.com, both to read about what's all going on, read about the lineups, and buy tickets. Farm Market rockin' and rolling now in full swing with its kids programs and musical programs up and running. Pool open this weekend. We have delivered some really nice improvements that you'll see actually in a resolution tonight that we have to pay for in the dining area at the pool. Really much more open environment, expanded the area, new food vendor, and the pool is open. So we very much encourage folks to sign up and become members because that would help a lot. Anything else somebody wanted to add?
I'll just add that the library steering committee that was overseeing, with the help of consultants that the library hired, Plan A, to address issues with regarding sort of 5th, 6th, 7th grade kids. That has reached its conclusion, and Plan A has put together a proposal for changes to be made to programming and to the layout of the library. So for those who are interested in following that process, I will be posting things on Facebook, and I encourage you to tune in to see how that evolves.
Thank you. Anything else? I had one last one, and that is I attended 2 weeks ago the kickoff meeting for the county-wide shared services program. All 45 communities in Westchester are convened by the county, as is required by New York state law, to put together a shared services package and submit it to the state. So I was very much encouraged. They have engaged a number of consultants, including the Rockefeller Institute, which is a part of SUNY, and what I wanted to point out is that anyone who had any opinions on this is obviously welcome to voice them in any way, and they could certainly ask any of us and we will forward them. But if you wanted to do so in person, there are 2 public meetings, both on Thursday, June 14, from 3 to 5 p.m., a public meeting at the Yonkers Riverfront Library, and from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Mount Kisco Library. And those are open house sort of town meetings to receive comments of any kind about shared services if people had opinions, suggestions, or otherwise. So again, Thursday, June 14, closest to us is 7 to 9 p.m. at the Mount Kisco Library. All right. Any comments from the public? Our call-in number is 769-1677.
Mayor, I have one comment. Tonight, SEPTA at their annual dinner is recognizing the village for our work with SEPTA students. They come on a weekly basis and help out around the office. But specifically, Stephanie and Kristen have led the charge and have done a great job, and they're being honored tonight. So I just wanted to recognize them.
Great.
Yep.
So Stephanie and Kristen are in our Justice Court office, and very much appreciate that good news, and congratulations to them, and thanks to SEPTA for that very nice gesture to honor them. All right, to the resolutions, number 116, Nicole.
Resolved that the following budget amendments are hereby approved as listed below. A transfer in the amount of $33,795 from the general fund to the capital fund. That's for the pool seating area improvements. Increase revenue and expense capital fund, the same amount. Interfund transfer from the general fund, also for the pool seating area improvements.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. Joe, 117.
Resolved, the pre-check register dated May 30th, 2018, covering check numbers 89724 to 89799 is hereby approved as listed below. From the general fund, the water fund, the capital fund, the refuse fund, and the trust fund for a total of $413,739.22.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or questions? The lion's share of that is a single payment for our share of the water service, $92,146. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. David, 118.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the following donations for the Patty Dwyer Tree Fund. Frederick P. Clark for $100 and A1 Computers for $45.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thanks to those two for that contribution, and I can report that through the good offices of Kathy Dinkle, Chair of the Beautification Committee, a new Copper Beech tree has been planted. You can see it directly opposite the gazebo, adjacent to the train tracks. And I can also report that we are tentatively, but I think pretty solidly, going to arrange a ceremony at 6 p.m. on Monday, June 18, to christen the tree, to thank Patty one more time, and all of the donors to the tree fund are invited, and of course anyone else is too. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 119, Nicole.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the following salary changes effective June 1st, 2018. Linda Bellafado, Superintendent of Recreation, $105,723 is the salary. Jeff Econom, Superintendent of Public Works, salary of $161,535. Joni Ehrlich, Coordinator Senior Services, $73,004. Eric Grutzner, Chief of Police, $168,640. Robert Hughes, Building Inspector, $112,455. Robin Rizzo, Deputy Treasurer, $86,700. Mary Schwartz, Treasurer, $156,787. Stephanie Tim Austin, Court Clerk, $82,584.
Is there a second?
Second.
So this is the result of some serious consideration, and in the end results in a 2% increase over the salaries those folks earned last year. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 120, Joe.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves an hourly rate increase from $23 to $23.50 for Lisa Dolce, intermediate typist part-time at the Police Department effective June 1, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. David, 121.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to contract Westchester EMS Stellaris Health for EMS standby services for the Pleasantville Music Festival, July 14th, 2018. Contract as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Westchester EMS has done this for us in the past and has provided exemplary service. I don't see in that contract, Eric, that that final price is settled.
I think it comes out to about $4,000.
Okay, so it's just, I see the hourly rates. It just gets multiplied by the number of hours they're actually there.
Correct.
Okay, we're required both by logic as well as by the health department to cover the music festival in that way. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 122. Cool.
Whereas the state legislature and the governor enacted legislation that authorized the establishment of a charitable gifts reserve fund and property tax credit program, and whereas pursuant to the legislation, a municipality creating a charitable gifts reserve fund may, by local law, authorize the issuance of a tax credit for contributions to such charitable gifts reserve fund, and whereas the Village of Pleasantville is considering establishing a charitable gifts reserve fund and providing for a property tax credit for donations to such fund. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Village Board of Trustees hereby schedules a public hearing on Monday, June 11, 2018 at 8 p.m. in the second floor meeting room of Village Hall located at 80 Wheeler Avenue to consider local law introductory number 2 of 2018 to authorize a charitable gifts reserve fund tax credit.
Is there a second?
Second.
So we've had quite a few discussions about this, as has been the case in every community in Westchester and likely every community in New York State. As you perhaps have read, the state has hatched this plan that would presumably allow us to establish this charitable gifts reserve fund and to allow folks to contribute to it and then have an offset against their property taxes at a maximum rate of 95% of the gift. It's all rather complicated, and it would involve not only the village, but similar such acts made by the school district, the town, and the county, in which case you'd have to make 4 different contributions and get 4 different receipts and then return them as credits against your taxes. Obviously, it's in everybody's interest to take advantage of anything we can take advantage of. We're not at all sure how this can work, or even if it will work. Last week, the IRS issued a statement that essentially said, we're looking at this and we will issue a statement. So it is our expectation sometime between now and June 11, we will get some further guidance from the IRS about whether they accept this as a legal arrangement or not. But in an effort to be in a position to take advantage of this, especially potentially for folks who would like to pay their first half village taxes due by July 1 in this manner, we're scheduling this public hearing that puts us in the position to take action if in fact we feel we can, but I would be less than straightforward if I said I'm not certain that any of us believe we have enough information to act. However, by June 11 we may, and so for that reason we're covering everybody's back here. So, anything further to add to that?
No, only that the IRS statement, said they were going to make a further statement, but it also indicated that they would not be accepting this as a deduction. But
So, looking for more guidance for sure. So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 123.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the mayor's appointment of Serge Budzin to the Zoning Board of Appeals to finish the term vacated by Dan S. Franklin Jr. Appointment shall be effective June 2018 to April 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
2 things to say here. One is Dan Franklin has served in an exemplary manner for, I think, over 20 years in the zoning board, which has been an extraordinarily stable board, as well as one with a long, long history of loyal service. Dan is moving out to the West Coast, and we very much will miss him and very much wish him well. More on that when we have an opportunity to thank him for his service. But with Dan's full enthusiasm, his nearby neighbor, Serge Budzin, who is a senior member of an engineering company in New York City, and a Pleasantville resident for many years, has stepped up to the plate to join the zoning board, and we thank him very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion approved. 124.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby authorizes the village administrator to sign the additional service request with Wagner Hodgson Landscape Architecture for project cost estimating, AV audio option study, and project management for the Manville Road and Memorial Plaza project for a fee not to exceed $12,760. Proposal attached.
Is there a second?
Second.
So as you know, Wagner Hodgson is the landscape architecture firm we have been working with on our Memorial Plaza Civic Space. In conversation with them, we have all agreed that it is time to engage a cost consultant who can vet those plans and come back with a pretty solid estimate of what it may cost to execute it, and at the same time to engage an AV consultant about the question of how much AV equipment would be reasonable to imagine in this site, and perhaps more importantly, what kind of conduit and infrastructure we want to make sure we have in place when we dig it up, even if we're not ready to take action on buying all that equipment. So Jamie has recommended Boyce Nemec Designs as an AV consultant, and they have provided a proposal for $5,000. And she has recommended Stuart Lynn Company for construction cost planning, and they have given us a detailed proposal as well, and envision that the total cost of that, let's see if I get the total here. I see the hourlies, I had the total before, $5,760. And then it's about $2,000 a fee to Wagner Hodgson to oversee and participate in both of those acts.
So this covers not only Wagner Hodgson, but also
Boyce
those
Nemec,
contractors.
correct,
Right.
that's right. It'll be billed through them at no mark. She'll bill it as a rent.
Straight.
Right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. 125, David.
Me, I think.
Oh, sorry.
No, Nicole.
Although I
Nicole.
would be happy for
I was going to say, it's a long, you can concatenate this as you wish.
All right. I don't know if my wits are sharp enough. Okay.
You want me
Whereas-
to do it? I'll do it if you want.
You want to do it?
I don't know that I want to do it, but
I have no
I'm
objection
just
to
going
it.
to, I will plod, if
Okay.
that's okay.
go right
That's
ahead.
All right, whereas the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development of the United States is authorized under Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, and Title II of the National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended, to make grants to states and other units of general local government to help finance community development programs. And whereas Section 99H of the General Municipal Law of the State of New York grants to any municipal corporation the power, either individually or jointly with one or more municipal corporations, to apply for, accept, and expend funds made available by the federal government, either directly or through the state, pursuant to the provisions of any federal law which is not inconsistent with the statutes or constitution of this state. I'm sure this is very clear to anyone who might be listening. In order to administer, conduct, or participate with the federal government in programs relating to the general welfare of the inhabitants of such municipal corporations. And whereas the Community Development Act of 1974 as amended, Title II of the National Affordable Housing Act of 1990 as amended, and any eligible activities thereunder are not inconsistent with the statutes or constitution of the state. And whereas a number of municipalities have requested Westchester's participation, and the County of Westchester has determined that it is desirable and in the public interest that it make application for community development block grant funds and home funds as an urban county. And whereas participation by the County of Westchester as an urban county in the community development program requires that the Village of Pleasantville and the County of Westchester cooperate in undertaking or assisting in undertaking essential community development and housing activities, specifically those activities authorized by statutes enacted pursuant to Article 18 of the New York State Constitution. Whereas this board deems it to be in the public interest for the Village of Pleasantville to enter into a cooperation agreement with the County of Westchester for the aforesaid purposes. Now therefore be it resolved that the village mayor, Peter Scher, be and hereby is authorized to execute a cooperation agreement between the Village of Pleasantville and the County of Westchester for the purposes of undertaking a community development program pursuant to the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 as amended in Title II of the National Affordable Housing.
Is there a second?
Second.
The Village of Pleasantville has participated in the CDBG program in the past, and a number of our projects that we have been able to do over the years have been funded by CDBG programs. The county ceased to be involved in those programs in the Astorino administration, due in significant part to arguments over the affordable housing settlement. That has since been resolved, and the county proposes to engage communities who wish to participate in the CDBG program. And Eric Morrissey spoke today to the county and confirmed that our participation in the set aside for affordable housing for new projects based on the model ordinance that was distributed in the previous administration and which was adopted by our community as well as by most other Westchester communities, fulfills our requirement.
Yes.
All true. Okay, any other questions or comments?
Good job.
Okay, good job. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
motion approved. 126.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the donation of $185 from Nick Napolitano, resulting from his fundraising efforts to improve recreational fishing opportunities for the youth of Pleasantville.
Is there a second?
Second.
Noreen can report. The fish are on site.
The fish have landed.
They have landed
So
as of Saturday.
Nick Napolitano identified a number of species of fish and raised some money to buy them, and they are now happily swimming around in Nanahagan Pond. And
When they grow big enough, you can catch them.
yes, we encourage you not to catch them until they get bigger. Thanks so much for Nick, who came and made an impressive presentation before our board a few months ago. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved. If we had not voted to accept the donation, someone would have to scuba dive and catch them. 127, David.
Resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves the minutes of the meetings held on May 21st, 2018.
Is there a second?
Second.
Comments or corrections to the minutes?
I'm going to abstain because I wasn't here, so.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion approved by 3 votes with 1 abstention. Is there any new business? Is there any comment of any kind from the public? With that, our short meeting will be adjourned into executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn into executive session on matters of personnel and litigation?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good evening, good night. Thank you for your attention. We'll be back on Monday, June 11, back to our regular schedule.